Hello, this is IG Sparks Made. Welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for sticking with me. And if you're just joining for the first time, welcome. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Today we're going to be doing a very beginner friendly tutorial on this Bubu gown with patch pockets. So let's get started. So I'll be working with a 3 yards of an Ankara wax or an Ankara fabric, and I'll just go ahead to fold the whole of the 3 yards into 4. Remember that it is just a 3 yards fabric, so it's not so sufficient, so I'll be using the whole of the 3 yards. So I'm going to just go ahead and first of all fold the 2 ends together, making it a fold into 2, and then further fold it again to get another end, which will make it a fold of 4. Okay, just like I did here. And now when I'm done folding into 4, I'm going to be dropping it on my cutting table. Now while dropping it on my cutting table, I'm also going to try my best to smoothen it out so that no part is shorter or longer than the other. So don't forget to do that when you are also folding yours. So when I'm done and I've placed it on my table, I'll go ahead and measure the length that I'll be getting from this fabric. I'm getting a total length of 54, whereas I need between 60 to 64 inches. So I'll go ahead and just mark my shoulder and then mark the sleeve length I want to work with. So I'm marking my shoulder, which is 8, and then the sleeve length is 12 plus extra 1 inch allowance. Then I'll be coming down by 12 inches, which is going to be my new chest point. Because it is a Bubu, I'm not using my original chest point for this because I do not want it to be too tight. So I'll go ahead and mark the total of the sleeve length and the shoulder together just to replicate it down on this chest line point. Okay, now when I'm done, I'll go ahead and mark my bust divided by 4 plus 5 inches allowance, and that is going to be where my bust is starting from. Then I'll go ahead and mark shoulder to waistline, and from this shoulder to waistline I'll come down by the hip length so that I can mark my hip length. Now for a body size that the hip and the bust are almost the same thing, you can go ahead and just create the same shape and connect all the way down. But for a body shape that there's a very clear difference from the bust and the hip, it is advisable to either use the wider part for the whole measurement. Okay, either the bust is wider, you use the bust, or if the hip is the wider part, you use the hip, or you can simply use the bust plus 5 or 6 and then the hip plus 5 or 6. Now when I'm done, the next thing I'm going to do is take my standard neck width measurement, which is 3. So for the back, I'll be doing 3 by 1, and for the front, we are doing a V neckline in front. I'm going to be coming down by 7 or 8 inches. So it depends on how revealing you want your V neck to be, how deep or how closed you want it to be. So I'll be coming down by 8 inches for my client. Then I'll just go ahead and connect. Now when I'm done with this, I'll go ahead and just cut. So basically we are actually done with the cutting process. You see how easy this tutorial is? So I'll go ahead and just cut off everything. Now you just go ahead and cut. Okay, so after cutting, the next thing I'm going to do is create my neck width, like for the front neck part. You know that I only cut the back neck alone, so I'll now separate both the back from the front so that I can cut my front neck. Now this is what it should look like when you are done. And next thing I'll do is get the leftover pieces. You know that we are actually managing this fabric, so I'll get the leftover pieces to place for the extra we're going to be joining on the hem side, and also measure what I have here for my joining. And I have about 6.8, and I think it would go a long way to increasing the length of this dress. Now the next thing I'm also going to do is measure my patch pockets. I'll be marking 1 to 13 or 12 and a half. And then looking at this patch pockets, the width is not wide enough, so I'll go ahead and add to that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is prepare my facing for the neckline. So I'll just go ahead and basically I had to just work with these 3 yards and make it work. So you can see that there's a joining on this facing fabric. So I went ahead to just cut out the facing and then added about 3 inches for what we're going to use to turn around, so the facing has enough allowance. Then I'll go ahead and join to the pockets. Like, we are making a patch pocket, so I'm going to go ahead and join so that it will be enough to create that patch pocket. So this is me just joining an extra fabric. Now when I'm done with this, I had a total of about 9.5. You see that I now have sufficient fabric for the patch pocket here. Everything is possible. So after getting what I want from this, I'll go ahead and note how many inches to iron in so that I can actually know that I have a total width of 8. I'm really aiming at 8 inches or 8.2 because we want the patch pocket to be bold. And don't forget that when you are folding any part, one part has to be the attention part, like the part that is the leader. So yeah, that's going to be the beginning of the pocket. So I'm going to be folding that part in by 1 inch or 1.5 inch. So it absolutely depends on you, but I ended up folding mine by 1.5 inch, while the other sides I folded it by 0.7. I mean, every other part aside the oga of this pocket, which is the top part of the pocket. So now I've gone ahead to iron it down. So the ironing just makes it sit really flat when you're attaching it to the dress. So this is me just showing you what my patch pocket looks like and testing it on my dress. So you can see that the patch pocket is already bold enough and it's giving us that, that attention that we are seeking from this patch pocket. So now the next thing I'm going to do is attach my patch pocket to my fabric, to my dress. So now before I do that, I will go ahead to mark or note the point where my waistline starts from. So I'm going to be folding this into 2 to measure out where my waistline is starting from, because we do not want this pocket to be too down. We want it to start somewhere around your waist. So I'll go ahead and note that point. And when I did, I went ahead to use my iron to create a midline and to also create a side line, noting where the waistline started from. So this is the lines that I created. It might not be so clear on the video, but I was actually able to see it. Now another thing you can do is you can use your chalk and also denote those lines. The only thing is that it will make the fabric messy, so you can just go ahead and use your iron and join it. Now when I was done, from the midpoint I came in by 3.5 inches. Yes, I decided to use 3.5 inches because you don't want the pockets to be clustered together. Okay, so I started from the midpoint by coming out by 3.5 inches to place my pockets on it. And then when I was done, I went ahead to sew up the heading of our pocket. Yes, I went ahead to stitch it down. I mean, that's the only part I'll be stitching down before stitching the overall pocket onto the dress. So after stitching it down, I will go ahead and still re-note that 3.5 inches because it is easier to mark it when you are placing the pockets already. Okay, it is actually easier to mark when you have placed your pocket on top. So when I placed my pocket on top, I will go ahead and place, be sure that my 3.5 inches is marked, and then I'll go ahead and use my pin to hold my pocket down. So this is an easy way to get your pockets accurate and on the same line, so that you don't sew your pockets and one is slightly up and the other is slightly down. We do not want that in 2025. Yes. All right, so if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do well to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I will really try my best to put a lot of knowledge out here, so you'll be encouraging me by subscribing and sharing this page to a fellow designer, a fellow fashion designer, a fellow tailor that will need this video. Okay, now I just went ahead to just sew up my pocket. Now basically this is almost the basics of the essence for making this video, because I know that a lot of us can already further from this point. All right, and also remember that I'm going to do a joining on the hem area, because the length wasn't enough for my client, so I went ahead to join the lower part with this fabric. Yes, I got some leftover pieces, so I added it to the fabric. And then when I was done with that, I will go ahead and fold in that 1 inch that we added for the hemming allowance for our sleeves. Yes, I went ahead to fold in that 1 inch that we added for the hemming allowance for our sleeves. And also, when I was done with that, basically the next thing was just to couple up this dress. Yes, so the next thing was just to couple up the dress. But yes, whilst you doing this hemming on both sides, remember that you're going to hem both sides of your fabric. Now, when I was done, I had to also finish up my neckline. Yes, I had to finish it up. I actually thought I did that earlier on. I did not know that I haven't done that yet. So of course you have to finish up your neckline. So this is me. I always enjoy using facing. It gives my work a neater finishing, but you can go ahead to pipe if you're used to piping, but I prefer to use a facing. Okay, so I went ahead to use my facing, sewed it all around, notched it, and still top stitched it. Yes, I sewed it all around, I notched it, and I still top stitched it, just to get that, that the facing falls over flat. So I still went ahead to top stitch. And now when I was done with this facing is when I'm now going to join both sides of my dress together. All right, so we're almost coming to the end of this video. Let me know if you enjoyed this particular tutorial. Let me know what other tutorial to make, what other video to make for you all. It will really help me, because most times I don't always know what to post up here. I know that you have all requested for some videos previously, and I'm looking at bringing it to life, which I will do very soon. Okay, so now the final thing I'll just be doing is joining the sides of this dress. Yes, I went ahead to just join the sides of this dress, and of course after joining both sides of the dress, the next thing I did was to hem the lower part of the dress. Yes, so because I am managing this fabric and the length was not really sufficient, I ended up holding it down by ½ inch all the way. Yes, I ended up holding it down by ½ inch, and voila, the dress is ready. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two from this video. See you on my next video. I love you. Bye.